Welcome to Health Coach for Women, a podcast where we explore alternative and holistic solutions to better health and wellness through intentional living. Now, here's your host, Marsha Roopchand-Walker.
Hi, and welcome back for joining me on another episode of Health Coach for Women. Question: do you ever feel constantly bloated, fatigued, and just lack mental clarity and focus? If so, your gut could be the reason. All right, that's what I'll be talking about today. Bloating, fatigue, and brain fog. How to reset your gut for optimal health. Now, you always know I like to start out with a quote. But before we get started, hit that like button, share, and subscribe. Okay, now let's jump right in. I want to go over this quote. A healthy gut is the foundation of a strong immune system and a resilient mind. When you nourish your gut, you strengthen your body's defenses, balance your emotions, and sharpen your mental clarity, because true wellness begins in the gut. Okay? And this is unknown. All right. Let's talk about that. What's going on when we experience bloating, fatigue, and brain fog? What is actually happening? What are the causes? Well, some of the causes for bloating, poor gut balance, right? This is dysbiosis, right? Food intolerances and sluggish digestion can cause excessive gas as well as bloating. Fatigue. Now, we know that the gut absorbs nutrients like B12, iron, and magnesium. And these deficiencies, so lack of these nutrients, can lead to low energy, chronic inflammation, and can drain your energy. All right? What about lack of focus, brain fog? All right? We all know that the gut produces neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, right? That happy feeling that we get. But an unhealthy gut can trigger inflammation that can disrupt brain function and make us feel moody, down, depressed, right? You've all experienced it. We've all experienced it. I've experienced it before, right? And I'm sure many of you have experienced it at some point in time. Do you know about the brain-gut connection? You know they work as one, right? They work as one. They work together, right? That gut and brain axis, because again, as I mentioned, serotonin is produced where? In the gut. And that 90% of serotonin is produced in the gut. Okay? Let's look at leaky gut and inflammation, right? What are some signs? What are some signs of poor gut health, right? And you know what leaky gut is, right? When certain foods that you eat, if you eat too much spicy foods, some signs of poor gut health. Again, you already know the chronic bloating, constipation, even diarrhea, right? Sugar cravings. Bet you didn't know that. Sugar cravings, right? Brain fog and trouble concentrating, right? And these unexplained bouts of fatigue, right? And so we know that these things are signs that you're having gut issues, right? Unhealthy gut, right? So what are some top disruptors? What are some top disruptors, and what do we need to avoid, right? What are some top reasons for gut imbalance? Processed and sugary foods, right? Because we know that they feed bacteria, which can lead to bloating and a sluggish digestion. What's another one? Chronic stress, right? Chronic stress increases what? Cortisol levels, which can disrupt the gut bacteria and again, slow down digestion. Poor sleep. What happens when we don't get enough sleep? right? It reduces gut repair time. It reduces gut repair time, weakening digestion as well as nutrient absorption. Right? You know, at night we detoxify. We know that our lymph is important for detoxifying, right? It is part of the immune system. We process and we get rid of waste, right? Through the lymph, through that lymphatic fluid. That's why we have to keep that lymphatic fluid moving. And that's why it's important when it comes to people with edema, right? And people who've just had some type of surgery, that what they call it, the lymphatic massages. We need to get rid of that fluid, get the fluid out, right? Which can reduce inflammation after having surgery, all right? Or when you experience having edema, okay? That's when there's fluid, that is when there's fluid leaking outside of the cells, right? So what can we do, right? What can we do? And we know that the brain, right? We know the brain eliminates waste from where? The spinal fluid, right? The spinal fluid, all right? And so we don't want to feel like that, but sometimes we do, right? And so what you are eating could be the cause due to an unhealthy gut. And what's another thing? Antibiotics and medications, right? We know that antibiotics kill off the bad as well as the good bacteria, right? Just like chemotherapy kills the good cells and the bad cells, right? It destroys everything, which creates imbalances. Dehydration and low fiber intake is another one. It slows down digestion, causing bloating and constipation. All right. But you can reset your gut and you can reset it naturally. Look, there's some gut healing foods, right? Probiotics, fermented foods like sauerkraut, kimchi, yogurt. And guess what I picked up? Some probiotic prunes. And I want to show it to you. Look at these. It says, survives 10 more times more effectively than yogurt cultures. One serving a day supports the immune and digestive health. We know prunes are good for you, right? We know prunes are good for you. So you may not want to have too much of them, right? So we'll just save that topic for another time. But prunes, okay? So if you don't want to have any sauerkraut, you don't like yogurt, kimchi, hey, have some prunes, okay? And this is a great fiber as well, right? Great source of fiber to help move things along. All right. So some prebiotics, fiber-rich foods like bananas, garlic and onions. Bone broth is very good, and collagen for the gut lining repair. So remember when I talked about leaky gut, bone broth and collagen for gut lining repair, right?
If you are struggling with health issues like chronic pain, being held back by past traumas, or feeling overwhelmed and hopeless, please know there is hope. There is help. Transcendence, a woman's guide to healing and self-love for better health, happiness, and abundance, is a blueprint to help you get your life back and reclaim your health. Within its pages, you'll learn how to elevate your existence by shifting your mindset toward the positive, focusing your energy on what's really important, using gratitude to feel deep appreciation, changing your gene expression through epigenetics, building resilience, and living in a state of flow, feeling love overflow within. Go beyond an ordinary life. Transcend. Buy it now.
What else can we do? We can reduce those inflammatory foods, right? You want to limit your dairy. You want to eliminate your dairy, right? Processed carbs and artificial additives, sweeteners, things like that. You want to make sure that you hydrate, right? Hydrate properly. And drink warm lemon water. Drink warm lemon water and herbal teas to support digestion. You know, I love my green tea, but there are others as well, right? So another one is to manage stress, right? You know, I always say the same thing: meditation, prayer, deep breathing, mindfulness techniques, right? Whatever it is that helps you to manage your stress, you should be doing more of that to help reducing your stress levels. We want to make sleep a priority, right? We want to make sleep a priority. And why? Because, like I mentioned, the gut regenerates at night. So aim for at least 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Some people requires less sleep than others, but aim for about 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Me, I can do good with 6, 7 hours. 6 to 8 is fine for me. All right. We could do a quick day reset. What about doing a quick 3-day gut reset, right? And you can do that by how? I'll tell you. Day one, right? So on day one, you're going to remove those gut irritants such as sugar, dairy, alcohol, and processed foods, right? That's what you're going to do on day one. Day two, add some probiotics. For example, fermented foods, right? Quality probiotic supplements if you choose. Day three, you can improve digestion by practicing mindful eating. Chewing your food. These are simple things, right? You don't even have to go to the store for it. Chewing your food properly by not chewing fast. Chewing your food properly and having lemon water. Okay. Now, even though lemons are acidic in its natural state, it becomes alkaline in our body. All right. So listen, I talked about all the things that you needed to do, right? And this episode may not be as long because I'm pretty much covering it in a quick and speedy way, where you can get all the information that you need, right? So again, we talked about the bloating and the fatigue and the lack of focus and why we experiencing that, right? Dysbiosis, right? Poor bacteria balance, the fatigue, that could be lack of nutrients such as iron, magnesium, and B12, right? And chronic inflammation can also drain your energy. Lack of focus, right? Lack of focus. Remember, the gut produces 90% of the serotonin in our body, right? And we need those things like serotonin and dopamine. And an unhealthy gut can trigger inflammation that can disrupt the brain function. All right. And so what do? We already talked about the signs, which I just already mentioned, right? We need to get rid of those sugary foods, processed sugary foods, reduce stress, have more and improved sleep, right? The antibiotics and medications, well, you may need it, right? Maybe you may need it for some reason, right? But once you're done, we want to make sure that we are getting back to a gut, and we know that antibiotics and the bacteria causing those imbalances. Dehydration and fiber, hydrate. Again, warm lemon water, right? Water, okay? Coconut water, right? How can we reset? Probiotics, prebiotics, bone broth, okay? Hydrate properly, manage stress, prioritize sleep, all right? And again, we're going to do the gut reset, which is to remove the irritants, which is the sugar, the dairy, the alcohol, and the processed foods, right? Day 2, we're going to add those probiotics, right? Fermented foods, all right? Or supplements if you choose, all right? Day 3, we can do, how can we improve digestion? Mindful eating, chewing our food, taking our time to chew our food, right? And drinking lemon water. Okay. So ask yourself, what gut health struggles do you face? What are some of the things do you face? Is it bloating, constipation, diarrhea? You experience a lot of fatigue. Remember, and this is why it's important to have your food journal, right? So when you notice that you're feeling a certain way, journal, what did you eat prior to that? What did you have prior to you feeling that sluggish fatigue feeling? Is it the carbs? What is it? Maybe you don't need gluten in your food, right? Maybe that's why you're putting on the weight. You have to journal these things and experience what you're feeling after you eat. And then try taking away, right? The elimination diet, right? Which you can call this an elimination diet, right? Because you're going to remove those things. You're going to remove those sugars. So this is like a gut reset elimination diet, right? Remove the carbs, right? Remove certain carbs, right? The white bread, wheat, all right? Remove the sugar, okay? Remove the alcohol, go for healthier options, right? Of fermented foods. Eat your salad, right? Have more fruits and vegetables. We know that fruits have sugar, right? But that is more of a natural sugar that's in the fruit. We're not talking about processed sugar. We're not talking about alternative sugars, right? And these substitutes that they have. So we're talking about natural, all right? So this is what you need to do, all right? And share your experience. Did you feel less sluggish? Did you sleep better? Okay? These are the things that you need to do, all right? And so I'm going to go ahead and wrap up, all right? I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. I thank you so much for joining me. This is a short episode, but I wanted to talk about gut health, right? I wanted to go ahead and talk about that. Because people are experiencing a lot of bloating, constipation, diarrhea, et cetera, sleep. And listen, I wanted to mention this. A lot of the things that we do when it comes to our gut and why we feel, you know that the gut, it can impact our mood, right? Certain foods that we're eating, right? That can impact our mental clarity and why we're feeling depressed, why we're feeling so blah and out of it, right? It could be what we're eating. Take time to reflect on that. All right. Take time to reflect on that and do the gut elimination diet. All right. Just for 3 days. Just for 3 days and see what happens. All right. That's all I have for you for today. I thank you so much for joining me this week. I was kind of debating on some things, whether I was going to put the podcast on hold for a moment as I'm working towards some other projects as well as some spiritual things. But I'm not sure yet, but I will let you know, okay? I will give you a heads up and I will let you know. Until next time, bye for now.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of Health Coach for Women with Marsha Roopchand-Walker. If you've enjoyed this episode, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. That helps others find the show, and we greatly appreciate it. Once again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next episode.